and commissioners, our city mayor and councilman. Bless us with wisdom, goodness, and truth. May law and order, justice, and peace prevail. Defend our liberties, preserve our unity, protect our county. To the honor of thy holy name. Amen. Hey, the first item is approval of the February 18th, 2025 Rules and Legislative Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Let me
opposed?
mention one thing.
Okay.
I corrected the commission. There wasn't a chance to do it here, but it's correct on that vote.
Okay.
On number 9, where I voted no, it's to the yes, but I'd already done it at the commission, but I was just going
Okay.
to clarify it here too.
Okay, that'll be
And I think
fine.
it's been corrected, but
Okay, no, you can bring it up
just
and
want
make
to
it,
make it clear.
okay. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Any other comments? We did vote on it, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The next item is consideration of placing the March 11th, 2025 commission minutes on the April 8th, 2025 county commission agenda.
Make a motion that we place those on the agenda without a recommendation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The next item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the April 8th, 2025 county commission agenda as requested by County Clerk Donna Thomas.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Chairman? we
Yes, ma'am.
skipped public comment.
Okay. We did go over public comment. Yes, is anybody, I'm sorry, we went from 1 to 2 without public comment. Does anyone here wish to be recognized in public comment? County Mayor, anybody say anything to you about it? Okay, anybody else? Okay,
This is not a public comment, but I did have today a couple of gentlemen from EDP Renewables to come and meet with me. They're going to be visiting our area. They're trying to do some solar panels and just asked me if I would introduce them at the meeting. And I believe Jack Denny, if you'll stand up, is here. Yeah, he just didn't want anybody to shoot him when he came up to talk to you, so I'm let everybody know who he is.
okay, anybody have any questions? Any other comments? Okay, being none, we'll go back to the agenda. The next item is the Veterans Report. Okay. We've got, in February, there were 51 veterans that came by the office for visits, and 44 veterans were transported to the VA hospitals, and evidently Mr. Ely's sick, so he's not here. Is there any other discussion or comments? A motion to approve.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the next two items are for our information only. The February community clinic, the medical report, I think there were 58 patients seen. And in February with the dental report, they were 89 patients seen. Is there any questions or comments concerning the community clinic monthly report?
Just glad
Okay.
they're here.
Okay. Okay, the next one's Ag Center report, Commissioner Anderson.
Nothing much different, but Heidi at Finance reached out to me about the county insurance. And there was a number of buildings and structures that either weren't there, have never been there, or they're someone else's. So I waited till the Ag Board meeting to go over every one of the structures that are there for insurance. And there was like 4 of them. And 2 of them, none of us never heard of before, so maybe to make our insurance a little cheaper, but these were like outbuildings and things like that aren't even there. So we took those off the insurance thing. So that was kind of the big thing we did at the meeting, because I wanted David Mulder and some of the older guys that have been on, I've been on there since 2012. Mulder's been there forever. And I said, David, do you know anything about these things? And he didn't either. So I don't know why they were there, but I'm glad Heidi in the finance office looked at it and got us to look at it because we were paying insurance on things that weren't ours or weren't even there. So that was the big thing. It was like a couple of them were like little outbuildings or mini barns that weren't there.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, it was great because I had never seen it before. And, you know, there was one outbuilding, I think someone else's that was removed several years ago. We had them to move it. She did a great job of that. And then when I met with the board, we all decided, well, these 4 things aren't here, so we took them off. So that was the gist of the big meeting this last time. The archery club, that's just something that they're getting ready to kind of, they're just starting it up. Yeah. And of course, anything we can do for kids, we always do for, you know, especially 4-H and that type stuff. And actually, I'll bring up something else about this too. Greg, you brought Van Air to talk to us about the bees. Oh, the grant came through for that. So we've got everything set up to put the plants in the ground at the very back of the place back there. And
About a year ago.
yeah, but Van said it just came through. So we met with Helen, so we're going to have all that put in.
Good.
And somewhere down the road, we may have field trips from schools and stuff once it gets going, that they can see the different plants and insects. It could be quite interesting. No, it's like pollinators. That's all it's pollinators.
Natural grasses and pollination, and we put one at the school, got a grant at the school, and then we went ahead, I went to the ag board and asked them, do you guys want to do this? And they said, absolutely. So we're going to be able to have natural grasses, pollinators out there, some walkways, so we can do field trips at
Right.
the ag center, anything to increase traffic out there and interact with the school system was the purpose.
That's just a,
Okay, any other questions about the Ag Center? Okay, then we'll go on to, the next item is a budget committee discussion. We got a letter from County Mayor, County Attorney, and we'll go over it. It's addressed to me, and he talked to me yesterday as well about it, so we'll read through it, and then we'll go from there. It says, Chair Farrar, pursuant to the request of the Rules and Legislative Committee from its last meeting, I provide this opinion regarding the establishment of the Bedford County Budget Committee. The Commission has adopted the financial management system of 81, which statute creates 521-104A Financial Management Committee, and it's Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21104 to designate the composition of the committee. There's 3 members of that committee are designated by the statute, being the county mayor, highway department supervisor, and the superintendent of schools. The other 4 members are selected by the county body, which has been done. Provides that that's Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21105, that the legislative body may authorize the committee to assume the functions of the following special committees, or the county legislative body may by resolution create a budget committee. The commission, by adopting the by-law rules of the Board of Commissioners of Bedford County, Tennessee, designated the Financial Management Committee by by-law rule 4, Section A, 4 standing committees, and subsection 4 to assume the function set forth in Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21-105, specifically including the budget items of a primary financial request. In addition, by adopting the same bylaw as Section I, Special Committees, the last sentence provides no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there's a standing committee on the same subject. Now, that seems to be the main point and could be debated, and that's what we'll do in a moment when I finish reading the letter. Therefore, it's my opinion at this point, the county commission has taken the appropriate steps to authorize the financial management committee to assume all the financial subtopics contained in section A, Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21-105. Clearly, this designation can be revoked by amending the provisions of the bylaw rules pursuant of bylaw rule 1, section as 2/3 majority, by eliminating the last sentence in the bylaw rule 6, rule 6, section A, subsection 4, and the last sentence of rule 6, section 1, and any other relevant provisions of the bylaws related to this subject. Another, I bet, indirect way of addressing the same issue would be the selection process of the Financial Management Committee at the appropriate time and method. Now, the other one has the letters, another request that Commissioner Anderson has, and he's not going to worry about it tonight. So it's open. I guess everyone got the bylaws. So I guess the main thing is in addition to adopting the last sentence provides no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there's a standing committee on the same subject. Of course, this subcommittee is within that committee, so I don't know if it's replacing it. It's in addition to. Now, it's going to be some duties shared, but I don't know. I think we need to get some other insight. And I did talk to Melissa Kelton, CTAS. She didn't know much about it, but I did ask her to check on it legally as well, and she said she would. And then I've known there's been 20 or 25 counties that have the 81 Act. I looked up that, and there's several of them here have it, but there's no need of going over that now. But I do know, at least I was told that there are a few of those, there's some of those 25 that do have this budget committee under special committees in there. Now, I might take note that I said, that one sentence, I don't know that we're replacing that. I think it's in addition to. We're not doing away with the other committee. We're not doing anything other than we're sharing the budgeting process. So, I mean, it's a valid question, though, and we need to get some other legal opinions. And I asked Melissa Kelton to do it. They got legal people down there as well. So I said, I think there's going to be some debate, discussion about whether you can have two committees. And I said, well, I look at it as being an addition to that committee, not supplanting it or not replacing it. So I don't know. When we can still discuss and debate it, and we can do whatever the committee wants to do. But it's here, and the rest of us need to discuss and debate it as well. So the floor is open. I've read it, and Commissioner Vick.
So help refresh our memory a little bit. Why is it you want to change this committee? What is your reasoning behind why you want to change it?
Well, I said we had three commissioners that were elected 2.5 years ago that wanted to be on the budget and finance. Well, they couldn't. There wasn't enough room there. And I thought with this, we're not replacing anything. The other committee, that Financial Management Act, and that committee is still in place. All those members are still there. Now, this other committee is just going to work on the budget. We pulled two of the more experienced people, which was Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Yawkey out of it. Now, they might or might not have any intentions of doing it. Okay, they'll be fine. And we can replace it with someone with accounting or a CPA or anybody we want to. That's fine. So, but I did think that you needed to have maybe two experienced people on that 5-member committee.
Why do you want to change the structure of the committee?
I'm not changing the structure of it. The 7 members are.
Well, I got that part. Tell me the duties you're trying to assume that the financial.
But they're going to help with the budget.
What the purpose is to help with the budget.
I read all that, and it's in the minutes. But you want me to go back and read the minutes again? It says the county legislative body may authorize a committee to assume the functions of any or all of the special committees, and the county legislative body may, by resolution, create a budget committee, an investment committee, or purchase committee. That's in addition to the 81, a 7-member committee.
That's TCA code you read.
Yes, it is. It's 5-21-105. That's what I read last
Yep.
time.
Yep.
And you've had, I mean, everybody's got it. It's in that.
I got it right here.
I got. Now, except upon the special committees, there's 5 members appointed by the county legislative body. The members of such committee need not be members of the county legislative body. The director, finance director, is ex officio member and secretary. That's right out of that Tennessee Code annotated. This budget committee shall establish and approve policies, forms, documents, procedures, and regulations necessary for the preparation of the annual budget. It's in addition to what the others do. And it involves 3 more members of this board, which wanted to serve on the financial committee to begin with. Commissioner Boutwell and Commissioner Thompson and Commissioner Neal. And it's involving more commissioners, and I think they have a right. They wanted to be in there, and I don't know why they can't have 2 maybe people overseeing the budget process. The original committee plus these 5 that will mesh, and all of that would have to be worked out. It's not passed, and anything's not done, and whether it's legal or not, I don't know. That's to be determined yet. But that's my idea. You got 3 commissioners that were elected 3 years ago that wanted to serve on it. They didn't get to serve on it, and now through a subcommittee, a budget committee, special committee, by law, they have a right to be involved in that. And I don't see one thing wrong with it. Now, the finance committee's taking exception to it, and that's fine.
Well,
They do what they want to.
if you don't mind,
Yes,
let's
absolutely.
go back a little bit. So the statute created the 1981 Act. There are 25 counties under the 81 Act. I have a copy of those counties right here that are under the 81 Act. Until 2006, this county operated with the very same thing you're talking about, a budget committee. And I think you were on the commission, and you may have voted for it in 2006 December. I know Commissioner Thomas and Commissioner Yockey was on there. The reason that the commission voted to go under the 81 Act was because their bond rating was in the toilet. There was a department head had been embezzling funds over $100,000. He went to jail. The schools were falling down. Portables were being put up. Property values were plummeting. The comptroller said, "You've got to do something to change."
Well, it's
the way
been
you're
wonderful. I don't have any. This is not a mark on them. And there's been more embezzlement than that. There were 2 more situations that it was, and that's cleared up.
And since 2006, just look at the difference we've had with the finance committee
No,
and the finance
I
director.
agree with you
Our
100%.
bond ratings at an all-time high, new
That's
schools
right.
getting built, employment turnover is low, best practices, national standards. Our finance committee director has got a national award. The comptroller's got all the awards. And it's just odd to me that you want to change this. Oh, yeah, and our Moody's rating is now AA3. That's the highest it has ever been in the history of Bedford County. So when we look at that as to why you want to change, which is why I ask you to get more people involved, we have a finance committee meeting and there's only 3 or 4 show up. And like Robert says, the budget starts July 1 for this next year. So, I mean, the opportunity there is available. Now, under the statute, I've looked at it here, and it creates it in 521-105. Then we go through here, and I'm sorry, let me back up. Under our bylaws, we just spent 9 months going through these bylaws. We updated them so we would be in compliance, and we hadn't been doing that, but we did it this year. We spent taxpayer money on legal matters to make sure we were in compliance. The commission voted to approve them, And at no time, at any point, did we ever hear a discussion about a budget committee coming up until now, 60 days later. Now we want to change the committee makeup.
I'm not changing the committee makeup. I'm forming a separate special committee.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not changing anything.
there are four
Commissioner
standing
Beck.
committees.
That's right.
Finance Management Committee duties, and this is Section A of our bylaws, Rule number 6. Items which may be considered are those relative to any financial matter concerning the budget or a primary financial request. Section I, no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there is a standing committee on the same subject. Bylaw Rule 7, commission-appointed subcommittees. Commission may select subcommittees to make studies and/or recommendations to the full commission through the standing committee on any specific matter which falls in their authority. So it takes 2/3 votes to make the change that you're asking to do. So if you are prepared to go back and get a 2/3 vote to rewrite the bylaws, that's where this is headed, legal decision or not, this is kind of where it's headed. So, I appreciate getting more people involved. I think we all should be more involved with it. But this is the process I think you're going to have to go through before we go much further, is you got to decide.
Commissioner Anderson.
Question I've got too. It's called CTAS. What did Charlie Curtis think of this? This would be another person I would want to look at.
Well,
this
that's another one. Now, he didn't,
what
he
Charlie
says it's perfectly legal,
Okay.
but now he doesn't, he has not got involved
Right.
with reading our, rules and bylaws.
But that might be
But-
something Charlie ought to look at, right? I mean, I know the set of eyes ain't gonna hurt you.
Well, no, it'll have to be looked by, I've already told you, I've already talked to Melissa Kelton, and they're gonna look at it
Okay.
as well, and then we certainly will let Charlie.
Well, that's the process you
Curtis
got to go
look at
through.
it. Well,
Whether it's
absolutely.
legal or not, doesn't matter. This is the
Right.
process to change this because this is what our bylaws say. So,
Okay. Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, I do agree that Charlie should look at it and let us know. I mean, he knows more about county government than any of us probably in this room. And I think from what I understood is that the reason it came up was that Charlie Curtis in a conversation to you said, why would you not have it? So that was the reason it just recently came up. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it as far as changing the bylaws. Apparently you would have to take 2 sentences out. I don't know how that should not take but a minute. But, to me, if you've got extra eyes looking at anything to do with finances or the budget, that's always good unless there's something that you don't want somebody else to be looking at. But to me, it's always good if you have extra people. I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, Commissioner.
Just a couple questions and maybe just a recommendation, because when this kind of came up, I started reaching out to other counties that are under the 81 Act, and a significant number of them do have a budget committee. It's separate. And when you reach out to them and talk to them, the reason that they created a budget committee was simply because county mayor, the highway department superintendent, as well as the superintendent of schools, is mandated by the TCA code to be on the finance committee. Well, they separate that out to avoid conflicts of interest and concerns from the constituents. And so with that may be a big reason why that I think Charlie Curtis probably led you down this road to say, hey, those 3 individuals are really probably in a situation and they're putting themselves in conflict voting for their specific department budget. So because of that, I think that is probably the first thing. The second piece is looking at this from a whole. Unfortunately, I've dove too much into TCA code last week and learning that this is a legal process. This is allowed. This is something that is allowed under the 81 Act. And so because of that, if you look through 105 all the way up to 113 in Section 5 of Chapter 21, it's completely laid out that this is a process that's allowed. The budget hearings, the budget amendment process, all that is allowed. Now, the question comes down to is in our bylaws, does that supersede what we can do under the TCA code? That's the question. It's not whether this is legal or not, because if you can read the TCA code and break that down, it is 100% legal because a majority of the counties that have the 81 Act do this. And so we need to really truly look at this instead of kind of really kind of breaking it down to legal or not. Because to me, it clearly lays it out in TCA. Now, the question is with our bylaws. Now, the second piece is I do want to address, why is there only 3 at the Finance Committee? Because it's at 4:15 in the day.
Oh, yeah,
Some
I
of us
forgot
have to
about that. I
work.
work till 5.
Yeah, and so the thing is that's fine if you have the ability to be there, but we have asked multiple times in courthouse and property to readjust that time frame for it to be in a situation where people who work can be there, specifically our constituents. So that's why 3 people are there. So if you're concerned with the amount of people that come, I'd probably recommend to that committee we look at a different time.
What counties did you? that have
Dyer
budget
County I
meetings?
spoke to specifically just because I have a relationship with them. But I would kind of dive in. I don't know the exact number of counties that do it. I just know it's a
Which one you
significant
talking- I was
number.
just asking
Yeah,
which one you
Dyer
talking-
County was specifically the one I spoke to the most.
A couple of things. I'd like to remind Commissioner Epperson and Commissioner Anderson, I stuck my neck out a year or so ago, 2 years ago, I don't know, and we got the time changed on finance to 5 o'clock because of the fussing. And nobody else came other than the regular people who came.
2 meetings. And it changed back.
Right.
2
But
meetings.
2 meetings. And did you come to either one of them?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
2 though. I mean, you could have gave us at least a month. I mean, maybe I was
Well,
sick. Maybe I had to work over.
And I'm not going to speak for the mayor and Robert on this, but the employees that come to the finance meeting have worked all day long. And then the second little dig
I
I'll
did
just
today.
I'll
Straight
just
from
dig
work.
in is you knew what the meetings were when you ran for the office. I had to take off when I was commissioner if I wanted to come to them. Changing into the second mode. Commissioner Fair, what is it that the Financial Management Act is, other than putting 2 or 3 more people in the process of it, that we don't put out there? We have a study session. I've watched within that study session the questions. If you didn't get the right answer, you just keep asking or prod or whatever. But the entire commission is involved in it. We do have that study session. And if there's something you don't like, something you don't understand, something that you need, that you feel passionate about, that you want to add, the mayor's office is open all the time. Go talk to him. Robert will answer any questions best he can on a spur of the moment. He may have to look something up. But other than the people that are being added, what is the wrong? What are we doing wrong right now in your mind?
Well, last May, you passed a resolution with the Liberty School, and it had 4 or 5 other issues in there that were not put in standing committee, was not discussed and debated, and that's where the sort of initiative of this started. And some other matters of just coming up for the simple fact that finances, they think it's money, then they'll just bring it up, and it won't go to the standing committees, which in my mind, there's been more than this. I'm bringing others up, but I didn't come here to air out dirty laundry, and I'm not going to necessarily, but I can. I can list probably 3 or 4 other issues this last year, but I'll just use with the big one because I didn't like any of that. There was one issue that was passed. It never did go to law enforcement. The firing range, I don't think was ever in your committee. Was it, Commissioner Thomas? Right. But did it ever come through your committee? Okay, well, that's all I'm saying. That and there were some others. There was something about the rules that I thought that always come through us. It had to do with the letter grant. Okay, and then I was told, well, letter grant generates money. It doesn't generate. It gives us money. It's always come through that. Well, it was placed on there directly. It had never been done before that way. Is that a big issue? No. But then you had 2 or 3 on courthouse and property that didn't go back. Mainly juvenile detention center was not discussed and debated in open transparency. That's some of the problems I got. It's just railroading things through straight from finance to the commission without going through the proper standing committees. And that's where all this started. It started from that resolution I just got. Because I asked I called Charlie Curtis in a week or 2 after that. I said, what about, I'll send you a copy of that. And that's what I've given everyone. He sent me that summer. And it just sort of, I ain't got anything against anybody on that committee. or anybody else. I just don't think that at times there's enough questions asked and enough scrutiny placed on Robert Daniel. Now, if you want to air out some dirty laundry here, I'm going to mention his department having 10 or 12 members. Now, that should have been scrutinized by the Finance Committee and told no. And it goes right through without one question asked. And a lot of other things, I read the minutes every time. I don't go, but I read the minutes religiously, sometimes 2 or 3 times. I don't see anything else discussed. We got somebody that keeps very good minutes. We didn't have before, but we do now. So there you go. I talked to 2 or 3 others. They got 3 or 4 or 5 employees. We've got 10 and added 2 last year. We've got 12. Most of those financial directors, or many of them, make $80,000 to $90,000. Ours makes $130,000 to $140,000. I mean, we're out of kilter with just that one thing, and you know, I sort of think that y'all responsible for that. You need to keep that in tow. You're the financial committee, and I don't know that you're keeping Robert in tow. Seems like Robert's doing what he wants to with his personnel and his office. And I understand he needs this, and I understand that, but I don't know. And I think, you know, we had a consultant come in and from the audit committee came in. He said, eventually, you know, we might go to private acts anyhow with the more technology and everything else. And we might be able to do away with that and save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. He was the one that said it, the audit guy, and he praised the 81 Act like everybody else. I do too, Commissioner Vick. I agree with 100% of what you said. Outside a few things that I think should have been scrutinized and questions asked and the standing committees used. That's where I stand. And I'm thinking, anybody else want to comment?
Full house in here tonight. So, you know, my opinion is this is a common sense move, Commissioner Vick. We have other commissioners that we all get paid the same. So it's almost as if these commissioners are saying, you know what? I'll go the extra mile. I'll put in the overtime. Everybody's going to get paid the same. Just to add an extra set of eyes, not necessarily from a standpoint of catching something wrongdoing, but, you know, things can sometimes slip through the cracks. So what's the harm in having some very highly qualified commissioners to serve on this committee? I also have, matter of fact, before this topic even arose, I had a conversation with Charlie Curtis myself back last year. He mentioned it. So I know that he's going to be for it, and I'm looking forward for him to speak to it. But to me, this is just a common sense move. I mean, you have a group of folks that are saying, you know what, I'll serve the extra time. I'll put in the extra effort. Let's do it. Now, also on the other end of that, if we have a finance committee or whoever is handling the finances and everything is buttoned up tight, as you mentioned, and all these awards are there, congratulations to those folks. But if I were running that ship, I would say, come on in. You know, have a look for yourself. It's all in the spirit of transparency. So in my eyes, we're bickering back and forth over something that seems like a common sense move. And I believe, I'll say this publicly, here we go. If anybody stands against this, I would question your reasons. So, appreciate the time.
Okay. Anyone else want to ask the question, discussion? There be none. Well, I guess what's the committee want to do? It had to come from us, and we can do whatever we get the votes to do. It's up to y'all. Certainly is going to have some more legal opinions.
I mean, I know Charlie's in legislature right now.
He is. I called him again and asked him to come down and even do a video. He says, I'll be driving. I can't do I asked him to, and he couldn't. He's at the state legislature. He's very, very busy. I said, can you get on the conference call? And he said, no, I'm driving. I'll be driving home. And he couldn't do it. But he said he'll come down as soon as the legislature, gets through, and he'll be glad to discuss and talk to anybody about it.
Yeah, I have also talked to him, and I know he's very adamant that you can do it. There's no problem doing it, that he doesn't know why we hadn't done it. So, I guess he just needs to come in person and tell people that.
Well, the question for here and our county attorneys says we can't have, that this committee can't replace the other, but I don't look at it that way. We're not replacing the other committee. It's just in addition to. So I don't know. We'll have to get some legal. As I said, I've talked to Melissa Kelton. They're going to do some legal stuff, and we'll see what they say. And then we know what John T's ruling is, and that's fine. That's one person. And then we'll I'll talk to Charlie Curtis again and see what he says, and I'll read the rules local rules, and
I think he'll have to be here to say it himself, because they're not going to believe.
I believe it. The question is, they say we can't do it, and they believe Charlie Curtis. They know it's legal. It's just like Commissioner Hooker said. There's nothing illegal about this, or I wouldn't have brought it up. But there's some question as to whether we can do it or not because of our local rules. So, I don't know. There might be a little gray matter in there about it replacing it. It's not replacing what's there. It's in addition to, Commissioner Davis.
Is there 8 on the finance? Am I correct? How many's on the finance committee?
So,
7.
7. So we're talking 4 more?
no, this
No.
is
No. Here's what I'm saying. The proposal, if you want to do this, why would you just not add 3 or 4 of those people to the
state
finance and
statute.
expense?
That's
That's what I'm asking.
set
Okay.
up.
Okay.
It's not. That's not Tennessee Code Annotated.
Okay.
Yes,
Any other questions? Any discussion? What's the committee want to do?
We need to defer it until we get more information.
Maybe defer it 30 days.
Second.
Okay.
Next meeting.
And second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
You're going to talk about Commissioner Anderson. I know you've got that.
I just now got it, so we're going to talk about it.
Okay, you're not going
Because I didn't get it 15 minutes ago.
Well, we need to talk a little bit about it. 'Cause
Sure.
we've got it.
Absolutely.
So-
That's what y'all want to do.
Well, I ain't even read it.
Well, we had time to read it. I was going to wait and let y'all read it. We'll talk about it next month.
It's not on the
So we have a
agenda.
resolution prohibiting residential decentralized wastewater systems, sometimes referred to as STEP systems. So we're going to talk about this for the next 30 days. and then
Right,
next
let you
month
read it,
we'll
and everybody
discuss
read it, look at it, and then we'll have a discussion about it next month.
But basically, give us an idea of what it is we're doing here.
Well, we're trying to figure out a way, because after we had the study session where they said approximately half of them failed, for places in the county, it looks like this gives you an opportunity to put houses maybe where houses shouldn't be. But my main thing is it's 1 acre and it's got a perk. Where did we get away from the perk aspect of it? I understand we're sticking to the 1 acre, but if you use these things, it no longer has to perk. That's what I want everybody to think about, and we can discuss it and come back next month
So
on it.
really what you're saying is septic tanks only, no step system.
Well, yes, what it needs to perk. There's a reason for perking. It's not just a septic tank. It could be a water standing somewhere. That's why you don't want to put something somewhere. You don't want to put it in a ravine on a farm and put a house there and have water all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and as we seen just this last weekend, I mean, there's a lot of houses built in water
Right.
standing in them right now.
But what you say is it's prohibited. You're saying that you can't build any of them here.
Until TDEC or somebody comes up with another better way to implement sufficient standards for proper installation, operation, blah, blah. It's all in here. We can discuss it next month.
What about our schools?
What about them?
They're not residential.
They're not residential. And there's not
So
a
we can
multitude
do
of
it,
houses on there.
we can do it here, but somebody else can't do it.
Well, if it's already done, it's already done.
On
What about our
commercial,
new school we've got out there at Liberty? It's going to have to be expanded.
it's not residential. This says
And
residential.
necessarily, I'm sure there's property out there that perks as well.
It's also not commercial.
I think you
Commercial
could have
will
put,
be
if you
responsible
wanted to,
for
you
their
could have
own.
put a septic tank at Cascade School, but we didn't, but you could have. You had plenty of land.
So that piece of property out on Longview where they just got the permit
Right.
from the state, will we grandfather that or?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be if it's already in it. But because the state gives you a standard, doesn't mean you have to allow it either. So that's what I'm saying. Now, the state, once you're going to meet their standard, it doesn't say you have to do it. But again, we got 30 days to talk about it. We'll talk about it next month. I just got my hands on this
Okay.
literally before I walked in here.
Well, I hope that the plumbers and the electricians and the building supply people and the realtors and everybody who makes a living in the construction business reads this, hears about it.
Sure.
because This is going to be
Absolutely.
a real,
And we can sure
Problem
we
for
can
them.
sure get the plumbers to come talk about it because they sure don't know how to work on them. And that's part of the problem here too. Every plumber I know doesn't know how to work on them. But hey, we got 30 days. We'll study it. We'll talk about it. We'll look at it and look into it.
Okay.
But none of us had time to look at it,
I
including me.
agree, I agree. I agree.
Okay, we got one more item here under new business. Highway Superintendent Mark Clanton sent us a road list update that we need to get on the county agenda. It says, number one, Frank Martin Road from Midland Road to city limits changed from 0.96 miles to 0.37 miles. It says, per state law, along with the uniform highway law, it is permissible to bring periodic changes to the approved road list to the committee level to be passed on the legislative body, which we're going to do for approval once the completed road list, never change is approved. It's already been approved, but this is changed. So we're,
Motion to approve.
okay. Is there a second? Okay. Get a second, then we'll open it up. Is there a second?
Uh,
Okay,
Second.
go ahead. Now we're ready for discussion. No, we're not approving anything. We never approve anything.
I've been here long enough to know this is a recommendation committee. We're all recommendation committees, and it takes 18 commissioners to pass anything.
We're voting to place it on the legislative. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know what she said. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Excuse
All
me, the
opposed?
motion is to place it on the agenda.
Yes, absolutely.
We want Linda to be happy.
That's what I said.